industry to where I was supervising over 1,000 stores for the Southland Corporation. It was a subsidiary of 7-Eleven. It was called the Lawson's Milk Stores. I was supervising a rack jobber program, and then I got recruited to go to a pet store chain in Boston and head up the product placement department. During that time, one of our vice presidents had a severe heart attack, and he was our vice president of construction and had 100 stores under construction. So they called me into the office. They said, "What do you know about construction?" And I said, "Nothing." And they said, "Good answer. We'd like to put you on the road for 2 years to build 100 stores." And so I literally went out and got 100 pet stores built, learned the industry, fell in love with it, continued in the pet store industry for a few more years. I was operations president for vice president for 2 different companies, big chain stores, and it was the pet industry. But I was also heading up their construction departments. And then left that industry in '95, started a construction company, did that until we retired and we moved here. Ironically, I'm back in the pet industry, where I started. It's kind of funny how things go full circle, right? So back when I was in the pet industry in the early 70s, or late 70s and early 80s, people weren't feeding premium dog foods. We were just teaching people about that. And we were just teaching them about the benefits of it. And that was awesome. It was a time when we had a product called Science Diet that was the pinnacle of what everybody should be feeding their dog. So I'm going to get a little radical here because how many of you have a pet? Almost everybody has a pet. Okay, so I want you just to listen to this a little bit. This is my passion project. Big pharma and big business have control of the pet industry now. Just like with humans, they're forcing synthetic drugs on emotional pet parents, and they're getting our fur babies dependent on drugs that attack major organs. My company is disrupting the pet industry. The pet industry is a $125 billion industry. $35 billion of that is veterinarian. 1/3 of that $35 billion is medications sold by veterinarians. 1/3 of their money is to sell pills, okay? As a nation, we've become a pill-popping population. Say that fast, pill-popping population. Guess what? They're doing the same thing to our animals, and it's really sad. 74% of all medications for our animals are sold from the veterinarians. So, my question is, do they want cures or do they want customers? Think about that. So, I'm going to give you some fun facts. They're really not so fun. The average lifespan of a golden retriever in 1970 was 60 to 17 years old. The average lifespan now of a golden retriever is 10 years old. The top 3 food manufacturers are Mars, Nestle, and Smuckers. What do they make? They make candy. Okay, so is it surprising that diabetes is up by 80% in dogs in the last 10 years? Is it surprising that cats now have 1 in 10 have diabetes? In 1970, there was no reported diabetes in cats. What's happened? Okay, cancer is up in the last 10 years. It's up by 50% in dogs. Out of every animal that dies that a veterinarian knows about and can record, 50% of the deaths are due to cancer for dogs. How many of you have known someone who's lost an animal to cancer? It's disgusting. It's so sad. We shouldn't be there. But let's just talk a little bit about this. The number 2 highest recalled food is the number 1 found food in veterinarian offices. The number 1 food selling in the United States is the number 2 highest recalled food. So Walmart sells the most dog food of anybody, and it's the number 2 highest recalled food. Veterinarians sell the second most amount of food, and it's the number 1 recalled food. Is that a little bit concerning to you? It concerns me. What concerns me is that our veterinarians are selling Science Diet. Now, I said back in the 70s, it was the pinnacle. It was what everybody wanted to be. But because of mass production, because of competition, because of price points, because of profit margins, they've started to dumb up their food a little bit. Millennials are really smart. They're doing a lot of fun things in purchasing of dog food. Science Diet reclassified their food as a medication so that the veterinarians can sell it. Science Diet also, the Hills Corporation, has a program where they pay off student loans for veterinarians. So, it's no different than Big Pharma. Hey, I'm not saying that I don't think veterinarians are good. I think veterinarians are needed. We have to have them. But what we have to also start doing is start asking questions about holistic, different, natural things, just like we have to do for our own bodies. Larry Smith told me, who used to be in Boulder City doctor, that if somebody comes into his office and he doesn't write him a prescription, they feel cheated out of an appointment. The same thing happens with our fur babies. We go in and, here, buy this pill, when there's so many different things. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about our product line. I'm going to make it quick, and I'm going to divide it into 4 areas. Our first product line is our mushroom product, the Cordel's Versicola product. We have mushroom-infused sauces, treats. I like to call them life-enhancing biscuits disguised as treats. We also have them for humans. And this biscuit helps modulate the immune system. So do you guys all know if your immune systems are working well, so is your body, right? So that's what we're trying to do for our animals. Our second line is the CBD line. What does CBD do? Well, there's a medication called Rumadel that veterinarians give out like candy. And it attacks the liver and it attacks the organs. CBD is all natural, and it does the same thing. Reduces inflammation, reduces pain, reduces anxiety, reduces stress, all these amazing things that our animals can benefit from naturally. And in the state of Nevada, we're the first state that allows veterinarians to prescribe CBD for animals. But none of them are doing it. And I'm wondering why. You know, it's a good question to ask. The third line that we have are minerals. So minerals are important to support the joints, to support the heart, to support the organs. You can get those minerals in natural antler sticks, which these are naturally shed. Thank you, Kelly. These are shed. And you can also get them in this wonderful biscuit that we have. Our fourth line is nutrition. And I just want to touch on this real quick. If you have a pencil, write down Pet Fold, F-O-O-L-D, Pet Fold. It's a documentary on pet food. It's going to disgust you when you see what they're putting in our pet foods. Animal byproducts, roadkill, products that are called fortification products that are basically slaughterhouse leftovers, food and beverage industry rejects, and food that's unfit for human consumption. So I'm going to end with this. Our food seems expensive until you read the feeding schedule. When I went over the feeding schedule of the one that you showed me last night, this food you feed half of. So your food ended up being about $3.60 a pound. This ends up being about $2.25 a pound because you feed half. Half the food means half poop. That's a lot nicer. We don't want to have to clean up a lot of dog poop. So most foods are cooked under extensive heat, which causes carcinogens, and they do that to speed up the process. Our Sequoia brand is cooked in a human-grade kitchen. Our Sequoia brand is cooked at low temperatures, and I just encourage you to take a look at it. If you want your fur babies to be healthier, if you want them to be around longer, get them on the mushroom supplement, which has 400 medical studies proven that it helps the dogs not get cancer. It's proven on these studies. MD Anderson, Sloan Kettering, Harvard, Pennsylvania Veterinarian School put it in writing. If your dog takes this mushroom and he has cancer, he's going to live longer than if he doesn't take the mushroom. So with that, the reason I did this is I want you to come up here and take a look at this later. I dropped some food in here. It hasn't swelled. It's the same size as when I dropped it in here. It'll be the same size tomorrow. If you drop your food in some water, I want you to see what happens. It'll swell up. It swells up because of the fillers. And if your little belly of your dog, if they eat and then they chug water because they're thirsty, their little belly's going to extend and the food's going to swell in their belly. So take a look at what you're feeding your dog. I'm happy to do an analysis on it, and that's my spiel for the health of your pets. Thanks.